It's Ginny, Aaron, and Dave, and we're going to talk about what to do if you really lose your phone. Last week we talked about what to do to prepare in case you lose your phone, right? And if you want to see that, go to our YouTube channel or just go back in our video history and you can see that. It's also on our blog. So we're going to talk about what to do if you lose your phone. Because if you really lose your phone, you have to assume the worst, right? You have to assume that somebody, what's the word I'm looking for?
Has bad intentions.
Yeah, somebody has really bad intentions. So I'm going to let Dave go through some of this. Step one was to remotely lock and wipe your phone.
Right. Now, I missed last week. I'm assuming you talked about putting a passcode on your phone, right? The ounce of prevention.
Right. We talked about that. And then we talked about how to, and I did a screen share on how to use the Find Your Device on Apple and on Google.
Okay.
So that was like, you didn't really lose your phone. It is still somewhere. You just need to find it. And I showed them how you can ring your phone. Like, let's say I just set it down in the living room or something and I lost it. I can ring my phone from my computer and go find it. Or I can ring it from my watch and go find it. So that's what we talked about last week. So this week we're getting into more of the security issue if you really lose your phone.
Right.
So Dave, before you do, I'll just say that because we set all that up, when you go to Google and find your phone, and I'm sure Apple has the same thing, you can remotely wipe your device.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first step, is just wipe it.
Well,
right?
I had read that they say that you don't want to do that until you for surely think you've lost it and you're not going to get it back. They said a couple of things you can do first, and that would be, I think, what Dave was going to get into, change some passwords, things like that, with the idea that hopefully somebody will return it if you did lose it, or you'll find it. With the wiping of the phone was a last resort, because you will lose all of your data, pictures, video, audio.
Okay. Let's assume
unless you have that backed up somewhere.
Right.
True. Oh, that's another point that we didn't make last week is you can back up your phone too. Back up your data into the cloud.
Yep. And it's one of those instances where an ounce of prevention, is worth a pound of cure. Do the little things, the passcode and multi-factor, two-factor authentication, that kind of stuff to deter this from happening. And I guess my thought was a lot of it has to do with the scenario of which you lost your phone, right? Was it in your purse and someone robbed you? Was it someone who just wanted your credit cards and your money, or, whatever? Or, did it fall out of your pocket in the parking lot somewhere and it got crushed and it's wrecked? Until you know what happened to it, you have to take the steps necessary to protect your data. We were talking before we went on the air here about, look at your phone. Ginny said, I have like 2 things on my phone that have my personal information, like my utility bill and my Walmart account or something. But then I'm looking at mine and I'm thinking, these people have ways of getting information. They're not stupid, right? This is what they do to make money. From something as innocent as Lyft and Uber. I have Venmo. I have DoorDash. I don't have any credit card information on my DoorDash, but people could be getting free food from me, whatever. So you have to have a lot of bases to cover if you lose that phone. Obviously your credit card companies and your banks are first, but there's so much information on our phones that we don't know about, but the criminals do.
I think another point too, kind of stress, if you do fear that you've lost your phone and you're not going to get it back, is to notify your employer. Sometimes phones are extensions of the business office, and they contain business-related material, files, things like that, that the employer then could do some preventive measures as well to not lose any sensitive information or data.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of us use it to check our emails and stuff like that from work. So, but at DS Tech, we have security protocols too. So there is that, which is all part of the security plan.
That's a good point, Ginny, with the emails, is because if I can hijack your email account, I can make it look like I'm sending you emails from me when it's actually the person who stole my phone, and it's called a man in the middle, and they take over my account and do bad things.
Yes, they're not nice people.
No.
So when we talk about changing passwords, on our blog post, we have, a list of things that you should do. We start with email accounts and then banking and your cloud storage accounts, hosting accounts, social media, e-commerce like Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, and service utilities like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. So you got a lot of passwords to change too. And report it to the authorities, right?
Yes. Obviously, if someone, swiped your purse or, briefcase or whatever, that's a whole separate issue of reporting to the authorities, out and out theft, but it's not going to be a good day.
We forgot, you also need to report it to your carrier.
Carrier is important, yes, because there will have to be a number porting process to retain your mobile phone number, and that's at the carrier level. So that would be a quick one of the early calls, I would think, too, if you think for sure you've lost your phone, is have the carrier cut the service off to that device and then start the process of moving the telephone number and service onto a new device.
Yep. That would be, we skipped it. It was step number 2 after remotely locking your phone and possibly wiping it. So then report it to the carrier and then change all your passwords and then report it to the authorities.
They do say too that if you have a multi-factor authentication up front, basically when you load your phone, that will buy you some time on your password changes, meaning if somebody did, in fact, steal it and was going to do some harmful business with it, if you had a multi-factor login, you're making it harder for them to even get into the phone originally. So,
right.
Well, I use my fingerprint. Is that pretty secure?
I believe so.
Yes.
And I know my daughter uses facial recognition on her iPhone.
Yep.
I use the thumbprint and a pin, either or.
Yep.
And several weeks ago,
I have a pin on there too.
Right. Several weeks ago, I donated one of my old phones, my previous phone, to one of our employees for her daughter. And let me tell you, it was a process to wipe that phone.
Yep.
Right? So
I know, I did the same for my husband.
Yeah. And I had to go into my Apple account and I had emails, I had codes emailed my personal email account, and I tried to brick it by failing logins, but I guess the point I'm getting to is if you fail like 3 times on an iPhone, it locks you out for like 5 minutes, and then the next time it's 15 minutes. So like you said, Aaron, you're buying time. If you lose it, if it's an amateur just trying to get into your phone, they're not going to get into it by guessing your PIN unless it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So,
Right.
have a pin that's not 1234 or 1111 or 2222, but it's going to fail and they're going to get locked out and have to wait. And you assume if they're just kids or whatever, what are they going to do? They're going to smash it, right, or throw it away, whatever. So that's the best scenario.
Yeah, that's not the bad people having your phone. If it was just kids that are going to do something like that. All right. Anything else? We pretty much covered it, right? Awesome. So if you're a business owner, make sure you go to our website. It's right on the bottom of the screen under Dave, dstech.net, and get your free security assessment. So, right down there. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.